Hi everyone, I'm Matt Hetherington with MHTableTennis.com, and today is the 11th day out of 30 days of coaching tutorials, and a topic today that I think is really great to do a video on, and one that I'm quite enthusiastic about. I was actually asked a very broad question recently, and that is, what makes a serve effective? And it got me thinking about people who ask very vague and broad questions like, what is the most effective serve? And what is the best equipment for me? Well, I thought a lot about what makes a serve effective and what in my mind was the most effective serve in table tennis. And there are so many different serve variations and so many things to think about, you might feel like there's no one single answer. The good news is, I have an answer. I have done some thinking, and over the course of my career picked up a lot of different things. I have an answer about what I think is the most effective serve in table tennis. Now, a lot of you are probably sitting at home behind your computer screen thinking that I've gone insane during my time in quarantine. There's no way that there can possibly be one serve that is the most effective serve. Well, it's not just one serve, and I'm going to explain to you now the answer to the question. I'm going to start off by answering the question straight away. The most effective serve in table tennis is one that you can predict with a very high probability is going to be returned in a certain way. And this is all part of a broader subject or topic of using set plays or set pieces where you start with the serve and you have a plan. So the most effective serve in table tennis is one when you know exactly what your opponent's going to do or how they're going to respond. And to do that, we have to combine the speed of the serve, the length of the serve, the spin on the serve, and the direction of the serve. Those four key elements in ways where we can start eliminating how our opponent is able to comfortably respond to the serve. And once we combine those four elements, the probability just starts going higher and higher up towards the response that we want. So I'm going to show you a serve that as a left-hander has been part of my game for a long time, and it's one that I use as part of a set play, and I will explain to you how I go about using that serve, how it eliminates other responses, and how I know, for the most part, what I'm most likely to get back, and I can then prepare for that eventuality. Okay, when I'm structuring a point, or when it's my serve and I want to plan how things are going to go, I need to think about how I want the first response to come back after my serve. And so once we think about that, and not think about how our opponent might respond, but really think about how we want them to respond, then we're able to make a serve that starts creating a very high probability of achieving that. Let's get straight to the chase. I'm going to pick a response that I'm comfortable with, and that is a topspin response to my backhand side that's not too powerful. Okay, so I want to set up the opportunity for myself to attack and hopefully open up a space on the table for me to put that first ball into. So let's start by eliminating things. First of all, we're going to eliminate the short push and the long push. And we're going to do that by serving topspin. Okay, if I serve topspin with some kick, if it's drop shotted or pushed, the ball's going to pop up most of the time. And so the probability of the opponent returning by pushing, once they recognize that it's topspin, becomes very low and almost in some cases eliminated. Next, we need to make sure that I get a topspin return that's not too powerful. And that's easily done by serving short. Okay, so we make sure that when we're serving topspin, the ball bounces at least twice on the other side of the table. Okay, now I have eliminated the short push, the long push, and the loop. Okay, for the most part, players are now responding with a flick. Okay, so now we need to start thinking, how do we get the ball to come back to this side? And how do we make sure that their flick is not too aggressive? Well, in order to make sure it's not too aggressive and they're not able to get me out wide this way, I need to make sure I'm not allowing them to play backhand flick. Okay, so if I'm serving anywhere across here towards the middle and they're using backhand banana, they can get wide and they can get a lot of acceleration. That means that I need to focus my serve more short to the forehand side. Now, there's only a few little adjustments that we need to think about. First of all, there's still some area for comfort if I serve plain topspin for the opponent to play anywhere. I need to add some side spin and I need to change the speed of the serve. And I do that by creating kick, okay? Not by doing a fast short serve, but by creating a kick. So there's an added speed element after the ball bounces on my opponent's side of the table. And I usually want this ball to bounce quickly towards the edge of the table, or towards the forehand wide edge of the table. And the reason that I do that is because the kick and the unpredictability of the ball sometimes makes your opponent feel uncomfortable or it catches them off guard. And in those situations when your opponent's not entirely sure about what they're going to do, the conditioned response or the trained response that is usually default and safe is how they tend to respond. So for example, if a ball's coming here and I'm getting prepared for it and then it kicks quickly this way, I get my racket there. A lot of the time my first instinct is to go for the safe option, get the ball cross court. Okay, and a lot of these times when the ball's coming out here, I know if I try and play down the line, it's just too soft. It's really hard against a side spin ball to build acceleration down the line. Playing cross court is a natural response, it's a safe response, and it's a response that allows our opponent to build more acceleration. And also, it counteracts the side spin on the ball. So now, having taken all of that into account, I will serve short, top side spin with a kick, and second bounce deviating towards the forehand side. So your serve would now look more like this. Okay, making sure that you're getting side spin deviation and possibly getting even a little bit wider, like this is a good example. Making sure that you're getting the other player wide on their forehand short. Okay, and not only does that get the response that I want, but it also gets my opponent away from this backhand side. And you'll remember in the beginning I said not only did I want this response, but I wanted there to be space on the table for me to hit into. By getting them away from their comfort anchor zone in the backhand, stretching across wide to the forehand, I have opened up space down the line. I went to the club and I said to Lily Yip, my practice partner, I'm going to serve. You can return the ball however you want. Okay, I didn't want to tell her what I was doing. I just said, however you want, you can return the ball. It's no problem at all. And so I used these top side spin serves, and the result was that there was a very high probability of her returning the ball where I wanted it and how I wanted it. The main thing that I want you to look at is how I'm serving and how the ball's coming back. And you'll start to see that even though I gave Lily the choice, I didn't tell her how I was serving, I didn't tell her how to return the ball. I said, look, you return it however you want, anyway. And you'll see that she involuntarily or by default returns the ball most of the time how I want it to come back. as you can see, if you just focus on the serve and the return aspect of that exercise, by combining the length of the serve, the spin, the speed, and the direction, we can start eliminating possibilities for our opponent, and we work towards what is the most effective serve in table tennis, and that is the serve where you can be very sure to a high probability of how your opponent's going to respond. And this is just one example of a serve, and just moving and increasing those different elements. Sometimes you're going to play against players who are a little more comfortable with it. They're going to respond in different ways, and so you might have to try some different things. But for the most part, if you think about what the most effective serve in table tennis is, this is my answer for that. So if you can get out there and make these set plays and really think about how you want the ball to come back before you start planning your serve. So if you're going to go out there and structure a point from your serve, you need to think, how do I want this to play out? And then once you've figured that out, you have the serve, you can control all the elements of the serve, and you need to really think about how to combine them so that you can get at least the first response that you want. Because if you can plan even one ball ahead with the receive, and then focus on your next ball and be prepared for it, that gives you a very big service advantage in the game, and it also gives you a lot of control over the table for your service points. Okay, if you have any questions about creating set plays or using different serves, maybe you're not sure how to go about creating a serve that will get you the response that you want, feel free to reach out to me. Again, comments below or email MHTableTennis@gmail.com. Happy to answer any of your questions, and thank you for joining me for today's video. Hopefully this made some sense to you, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for my next video.